Welcome to the best business show in the world.
Yes, you're back with me, Nigel T, your host for the Best Business Show, helping you create the best business you can by giving you content, knowledge and strategies for free. Oh yes. How are you doing, everyone? Welcome to episode 3. This is an episode which is fundamental to anyone who hasn't yet started their business, or anyone who's gearing up to do something different in their business. This is a crucial episode for you because it's all about how to get ready to start and some of the things you must do before you start your business. Okay. Number 1, all the crap. What do I mean? I mean that there's going to be an awful lot of crap with running your business. Now, it might be very sensible crap. It might be very important crap, but it will still be crap, and it will drive you to distraction. So you need to get comfortable with the fact that you are going to be in a sea of crap. Now, if you're a bloke like me, and if you're married like me, then you'll probably realize that you are never really out of the shit. It's only depending on what you do or don't do. It's only the level that changes. And sometimes you're up to your neck in it. And sometimes you're just splashing about in it. Sometimes it's just up to your middle. And sometimes it's up to your nostrils and your eyeballs, and it stinks. Get comfortable with it. Get comfortable with all the crap you're going to have to deal with. Now, that's number 1. If you can't deal with that, if you can't deal with crap and shit and all the rest of it, then give it up now. Keep listening to the podcast because I'd love you to stay along, and let me know. And maybe you could come back to me with an idea as to how do I overcome dealing with all the crap, and maybe I'll come up with an episode for that. But at the moment, if you can't deal with it, jack it in because there's going to be lots. It's going to come at you all the time. Get happy with it. The second thing, it's really, really important, is time. And if you have a family or friends, it's time and family. When you start a business, you may well not see anyone for quite a while. It may be so all-consuming that people think you've literally dropped off the face of the planet. It could be that it puts your health at risk. Because when you run a business, there is no one else. If you're in a corporate life, and something goes wrong with your computer, you pick up the phone or you fire off an email and you just say, "Oi, whoever you are in IT, come and sort my computer because it's not bloody working." So it might be the printer's out of ink, and the people in IT going, "For God's sake, can they not put a bloody print cartridge in?" And there's always someone, isn't there, you can blame or go back to or, ask the question and all the rest of it. But when it's your business, if you get a busy period where you've got to be shipping stuff out and you get customer complaints and there's people on the phone and there's emails coming in, if you started on your own and you're a one-man band, a one-woman band, you're going to have to deal with that. And I don't care where it is. You may well have a very important client. If that client gets on the phone to you, you have to deal with it. You can't walk away from it. And you need to have that conversation about the fact that this could affect your family or your friends. Now, here's the thing. And this is, draw some comfort from this. Your friends won't understand what you're doing or why. And they'll think you're a nutter. And your family, bless them, will probably think the same thing. Only twice as much, and there's probably far more of them, and they'll all give you advice as to why you're an idiot trying to do what you're hoping to do. They will tell you it's all going to go wrong and all the rest of it. But you need to have a conversation with your friends and your family and how this conversation should go. And this is a very difficult conversation. But this is my take on it. When you're talking to your family and your friends, you need to say to them, "Look, guys, I am jacking in my job." Gasps of shock. They'll jump in and they'll be ready to tell you all the reasons why that's not true. So when you tell them that, "I'm going to jack in my job and," so don't give them an in, don't let them talk, And I'm going to start a new business. Now, I can see this business really working. What it's going to do, I don't want to bore you with what it's going to do, but what it's going to achieve for me is it's going to achieve my financial wealth and well-being. It's going to improve my health long time because the job I'm in is killing me. It's also going to give me a legacy for my, for you, my friends, my family. It's also going to give me the opportunity to help those people in that charity that I really want to do. It's also going to create employment, and it's also going to grow and be something that will be really quite significant in this world. And it's something that I have to do. It's within me, deep within me. It's something I can't walk away from. It's something I cannot ignore any longer. I have to give it a go. And what I would love you to do is give me your support. I'm going to get enough advice, but that advice is going to come from professionals, people who've been involved in this sort of business. And if you, any of my friends and family, happen to be those type of professionals, then I'd love to have conversations where you can help me. But I need your total and unswerving support. And how I see that support really helping me most is when things are tough and I don't have time, you don't put pressure on me to drop it and ditch it to come and have a pint down the pub. You don't put pressure on me when I'm stressed and I'm trying to answer phones and doing emails that I have to go and walk the dog or pick something up, go get some milk or something. What I would like is your support to be total, and I'm being very selfish about this, and I know I am, but if that support could be when it's tough, you simply say, how can I help you get through this tough period? What support do you want from me? Or would you just like to be left alone? That could be enough. That could be enough. It could just be turning up with a hot drink when you know that you haven't, they've seen you and you haven't come out of your room, your office or wherever it is for hour after hour. If they could come in with a hot drink and a sandwich, my goodness me, that could be potentially one of the best things in the early days of a business. It could be better than winning a contract. It could be just something. It is so wonderful to receive that support. You have no idea. When you see these people and they're not very good runners and they enter a marathon and the people are there saying, you're going for a marathon, but look at you, you're 10 stone overweight, you're weighing, you're basically a bouncy ball, you can't run to save your life, you're going for a marathon. That's not what people want to hear. What they want to hear is someone saying, hey, wow, that's amazing, you go for it, and I tell you what, I'm going to be there at the finish line to cheer you across the line. And I'm getting quite emotional about this, but it's that support. And you've got to promise that, when the business is up and running and it gives you the time back, you are going to return that favor, return that support. But that support, you ask any marathon runner who was borderline, I can run 15 miles, I'm never going to make 26 miles. When that support, those streets are lined, they say that it gives them a lift, that they didn't know what it meant, but that encouragement, that cheering, that support, that well-wishing, that willing, wanting you to do it, to succeed, it gives people that energy, that ability to do it, the ability to keep pounding, putting one foot after another, head down, slogging it out. You hear it in your ears. Keep going, keep going, keep going. That's the conversation that you want to have with your friends and family. You want them to be the people there cheering you on, because this is going to be a marathon. It's going to be tougher than anything you've ever done before. And if they can be there to just give you that little bit of encouragement, nourishment for the mind, soul and body, that can be absolutely fantastic. And I tell you what, the opposite, where people begrudge you, get cross with you, get angry, put pressure on you, that's not going to help. That's not going to work. And when you are taking a gamble, and starting a business is a gamble, but it's a gamble where the odds should be in your favor, and the odds are in your favor when people support you. The odds start going against you when people are trying to undermine you. They pick at you. They point out your mistakes. They point out the fact that all the money's going out in the early days and none of it's coming in. Where's the money? Have you earned anything today? Have you sold anything? What have you done today? Is that it? Where's the money coming from? How are we ever going to live the life we want to live? What are you playing at? That kind of negativity will just bring your energy down. It will make you question what you're doing it for. And if one of the reasons why you are doing it is for the very people you think you are doing it for, the very people who are bringing you down, you begin to question, actually, why am I doing it for them? They don't seem to get it. So, number 2, have the conversation about where your time is going to go. How your time is not going to be your own to begin with. It will be every other factor in your business will demand your time. And your family, your loved ones may well drop down the line. That pecking order, that priority list, it may well go down. They need to understand that. You've got to be honest. There's no point starting this and then getting tied up in it and then just going dark or rogue or disappearing for days and hours. That is not fair. That is not fair. You need to explain how things might be so that the person is ready for these moments when you need the support. They understand what you're going through. This is a conversation you've got to have. Do people have it? No. Hell no. Why don't they have it? Because it's difficult. It's awkward. It's feeling very selfish. And most people in this world very much think of others first. They very much think of their loved ones and their friends first. If you've got kids, in a heartbeat you would give your life for theirs. In a heartbeat. And now you are turning around to those very same people and you are saying, I've got to do this for me, and at this point in time I am the one and only thing that matters. And I know that sounds terrible, but it won't last. And it will only last for as short a period as I can make it. But what I need is your understanding and your support, because that will help it end sooner, and it will help the end result that we all agree is what we want, which is whatever you've discussed, the end result. This is why we're doing it, why you're doing it. That's what you've got to kind of work on and make it clear. You look at any of the athletes. Have you noticed? I remember Mo Salah talking. So the long distance runner, who's won many Olympic medals and World Championship medals and all sorts of things, incredibly successful. And one of the things that struck me was he, along with many professional sports people, turned around and after they'd won the medal, turned around and gave their family a hug, and you just thought, wow, look at that. What a wonderful family sight. And then he turned around and said something like, I haven't seen my family for 5 months. I have been solely dedicated to me and my running for 5 months. Wow. Wow, that is an understanding family, because that is selfish behavior of the highest order. But it was selfish behavior for 5 months, but the long-term rewards for all the family are going to last 5 months, 5 years, 50 years. It's going to be a very, very long time. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and win Olympic medals. No, what I'm saying is he obviously had that conversation with his family, saying, I'm off on a training camp. And this is going to be up in the mountains doing something, for all this period of time. And I hope you understand that I've got to do it for me, and I'm being very selfish. And I know I'm being selfish, and I want you to help me and support me. Please have that conversation. If you're about to start a business, please have that conversation. Okay. Point number 3. That was a long one. Number 2 was a long one, wasn't it? Number 3. Money. Now, money, I believe, is the biggest reason that anyone splits from their partner, bar none. It is the overriding. It's probably 80% of something is money related, something to do with money. You need to have that conversation. Now, here's a top tip. Top best business show top tip. If you have a property and you are looking at a mortgage, or you are looking at refinancing it, so redoing the mortgage, so maybe you've had a fixed mortgage and it's changing and you need to redo it. If you are in a job and thinking about starting a business, do not, I would recommend, jack your job in before you have sorted out any mortgages or remortgaging that you're going to do on your property. Why? Because as soon as you leave that job, you are deemed to be a high risk of not being able to pay back any mortgage. What do I mean? The bank looks at you and says, okay, who are you? If you are running your own business, they'll say, okay, well, we don't believe any business works until you can show us maybe 3 years of accounts showing what the business does, how much it turns over, what its profit is, and how much you take from that business. Now, by definition, when you start a business, you do not have 3 years accounts. So you are at the bottom of the pile when it comes to being a good credit risk and someone that someone would want to lend money to. And that includes the banks or whoever, or building societies, whoever it is, lending you money for a house. Compare that when you are employed. If you are employed and you have a salary, the bank or building society will go, oh, okay, well, tell me what you spend your money on. All right, okay, and how much do you have left over? Oh, okay, well, I think then you could afford to borrow £100,000 or £200,000, whatever it might be, on that property, because we can see that you'd be able to repay that. Now, that is a much easier conversation at getting a mortgage if you can show that you are employed and you get a regular paycheck. Sort out your mortgage first before you start doing a business. And if possible, try, and if you can do it, and many people have, try doing a business on the side whilst doing your job. Because that way you are minimizing the risk. What do I mean by that? Well, you are staying employed, so that's good. That improves your credit rating, improves your credit risk in terms of borrowing. And whilst you are attempting to start a business and you don't know what that business necessarily is going to look like or how it's going to perform, you are testing in the background. And you are testing your theories, you're testing your concept, you are testing your system, you're testing your product ideas, your service ideas. You are learning and testing. Brilliant. You are minimizing the risk for when you want to go all in on your business because you're testing it. If you jack in your job and then you try and start something else, what happens if it takes 12 months? 12 months to actually start earning money again? How much money do you have tucked away to keep paying all the bills for 12 months? Yeah, it should make you think. So you need to have a think about money. And if you are thinking to yourself, right, okay, I'm going to have to borrow money to do this, to start my business, you need to look at how you're going to repay that. And we'll talk about cash flow forecasting in other episodes. But you've got to think to yourself, okay, what do I spend money on? Do I need to spend money on it? If you're talking about online businesses and creating sales funnels, then you are going to need software. You're going to need tools and systems and maybe computers and printers and maybe broadband access and other things that you maybe haven't got or don't really spend money on, but now you're going to spend a lot on. Maybe you just commuted to your job. Now you might need a vehicle to drive around and see people. You might need to factor in hotel stays or traveling or conferencing or networking or other things, subscriptions, memberships, all sorts of things. Have a look. Jot them down. Jot them down. If you're looking at mortgages, the bank will say, what do you spend your money on? And it might be, oh, I spend £100 a month on clothes. You might have to knock that on the head for a year. I'm a member of the gym. You may just have to jack that in and go running down the street once a week or twice a week or something. You're going to have to look at your money, and you're going to have to look at it pretty tough. So factor that in before you start. What are the things? Where do you spend your money? Can you cut back on it? Can you do it? If you need to have an office, where's that office going to be? Look at the number of mega businesses that started in bedrooms or garages or something like that. Do you know someone that has a bit of office space? Could you cadge a tiny bit of space, a desk space, something like that? Do you have a spare bedroom? Look at ways of minimizing. Do not think, in order to create a great impression, I need to go out and rent swanky offices with amazing things and spend loads of money. No. Money is going to be tight. Have a conversation about it. Now, if you've got loved ones involved in this, and you're suddenly saying, okay, well, we can't go out eating out. We're going to have to eat just jacket potatoes or something for 3 months. We're going to have to cancel the gym membership. We're going to have to sell your car and just have one car. We're going to have to sell the dog, or the dog will have to scavenge for itself. We're not going to pay medical bills. We're not going to pay insurance. Whoa. These are serious conversations. You've got to have these things, and you've got to think about it before you start. That's why I say, if you're in a job, stay in a job and try and learn on the side. If you are about to leave your job, and maybe for not your own personal choice or reason, now is the time to act swiftly and quickly at thinking, all right, that bit of money is going to have to tide me over until I've got something else set up. You need to look at what you can find for free, and then think carefully and review where people get their training from. There's an awful lot out there, and you can burn through your redundancy money or any sort of pot of savings very quickly. So you have to be very astute, careful, and cautious. Ask around. Ask and ye shall receive. Ask for a bit of advice. Has anyone done this? Has anyone done that? I'm thinking of doing this. What does anyone know about it? Do some research. Online research is fast, it's easy, it's pretty comprehensive. Think about it. Think about your money. Okay? So that's number 3. Money. Very important. Number 4. You may have done one of these if you're in the big corporate life, or maybe you've done some online versions, and they can be fascinating. You've got to be careful that they're not self-fulfilling prophecies, but there will be traits that crop up that you think, damn, that's me, and they've nailed it. Oh, you bastards. And that's a psychological test. Psychological profiling, psychometric testing. They've got lots of names, and there's lots of them out there. Disc profile, wealth dynamics, Belbin tests, various different tests out there, and these can be quite interesting. Why? Because they'll reveal what sort of character you are. And you've got to think to yourself, right, okay, if I'm going to run my own business, if I'm going to be I've effectively got to sell my product or service, or myself, or whatever it is, I've got to sell myself. I don't like sales. I don't like people. I don't like talking to people. Don't like talking to people on the phone. No, I don't like phoning anyone. You got to think to yourself, right, hold on. Am I geared up to actually do this? Because what I'm thinking about doing is all about selling. And if I don't want to meet people, I'm going to find it very hard to do this. And you've got to think to yourself, what is my profile? What are my strengths and weaknesses? Why? Because the person that you should recruit first when it gets around to employing people or using people, on a contracted basis for a short term, or getting some help, some part-time help, so using their skills, you want those skills to be the ones that complement you best. In other words, the things that you're crappiest at, and the things that you hate. Because you want to spend your time on the things that generate income fast, and that you enjoy. Why? Because you'll jump out of bed to do it. It'll be the thing that keeps you going. It'll be the thing that makes you happy to do this job that you've got, which is running a business. So psychological profiling can be very interesting. Can also reveal your flaws. And if you're not very good at negotiating with someone, if you're not very good at talking with people, then have a look at this, because it might give you some pointers, and that could direct you in a way of thinking, okay, here's a whole smorgasbord of training that I could do. This is what I need to do. Why? Because that's probably my weakest thing. And at the moment, I don't have the funds, the resources, the time, the money, the effort to employ someone to do that at the moment. So I'm going to have to do it. I need to improve it. I need to sharpen my skills. I need to do that. And psychological or psychometric testing can point that out. Okay, that's number 4. Number 5, look for recommendations. And they could be books, they could be business plans, they could be information, it could be check this out, there's support, there's local things going on in your local community that can help. There can be local authorities, your councils, or whoever it is, your local business, chamber of commerce. It could be anything. If you're not very good at speaking, it could be going out. I'd recommend going out to Toastmasters or learning. I've got a very good friend, Robert Upright, who is a master at teaching you the craft and the skill of being a public speaker. Why is that important? Oh my goodness. When you get out there and start doing networking and you listen to people talking, you will spot someone who's good. You will spot someone who's been trained, even if it's basic training. They are head and shoulders above other people. Why is that important? Because, oh my word, when you start a business, everything you do is about selling you, your business, your products, your services. And if you can get that message across, if you can get people engaged, if you can get people loving what you're talking about and wanting to know more and wanting to buy from you and wanting to do more with you and more with you and more with you, that can all come down to how you position yourself, your product, your service when you are doing public speaking. If you can hold an audience's attention, hold their attention in the palm of your hand, then you have such an advantage over potentially the rest of the market. You cannot underestimate it. I will put Robert's connections in the show notes for this, so episode number 3, because it's worth a conversation, and he does training on this. And hey, look, I'm going to push training. I'm going to push resources that I think, these are my recommendations. I'm going to push them to you and make them available to you. Why? Because I think they can make the difference. Why is that? Because typically training, when I recommend training, it is a way of condensing someone else's knowledge, experience, and learnings into a period of time that you could never replicate yourself. Because if you wanted to get that same experience and learning, it would take years. You can potentially get 80% of that within maybe a matter of days or weeks. That is what you are paying for. You are paying to save time. You are paying to find out their mistakes, their successes, and get that condensed into a way that you can replicate. So when recommendations, the E-Myth Uncovered by Michael Gerber, that's a great book because he's talking about all his experiences that he's reporting on. And it's a real good understanding into the psyche of, so when you're talking about psychological tests, psychometric tests, he's talking about all these people that have been successful and those that haven't, and the people that have got great failings, how they need to get other people in to help them out, and they need to do that fast. So that's a good one. Business plans, we'll talk about that on the separate podcast, but recommend it. A business plan really depends on if you are going out there and you are borrowing from someone and you have to produce one. If it's something that you are trying and testing at the moment, then the business plan is a very different business plan. If there's no financial pressure to produce figures for that, then a business plan is maybe less of a priority at this point. However, they are still important, but maybe not the most important. The other thing to do, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 6. So number 6 on this one is, before you get ready to start, do some market research. And it's so easy these days. I mean, bloody hell, Googling has entered our language. It's in the dictionary. Oh, I'll just Google that. Google this, Google that. Did you Google it? Yeah, I Googled it. It says, oh, I'm just going to Google that. It's everywhere. There are other search engines, but you don't say, I'm going to Bing it. I'm going to ask Jeeves it. It's not there, is it? It's not in the language. Google. So, what about Google? Well, pretty much, if it's out there, it's on Google. So if you've got ideas for products or services, do some market research. Market research can be crucial. What you want to do is find out competitors. You want to find out similar products, services, the people who are doing it, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what you thought was great stuff. So if you see their websites or their videos or their blogs or whatever it might be, keep a list. Make a note of the URL, so the website address. Keep lists of that. Write down what you thought was good, what you didn't like about it. Why? Because when you're doing... Right, first of all, let's just go back. Okay, you've done some research and you realise that, oh my goodness me, loads of people are doing what you wanted to do. So what? So what? It doesn't matter. The question is, do you think you can do it better than them? Is anyone else out there like you? If the answer is no, then you, and the answer is always no, then you have a unique approach. So what is this podcast called? It's called The Best Business Show. Is it the best business show in the world? Yes, because my name is Nigel Best. So it is the best business show. How do people interpret that? Well, it's how you position it, how you market it. You could turn around and, yes, all right, you're opening a restaurant or something. Are there other restaurants? Hell yes. But are they like yours? Hell no. And do you think you can be the best? Hell yes. And do you think anyone can copy you? Hell no. You are the thing. You are the difference. You are unique. You can do it. So do all your research and then say, right, okay, what is my interpretation? So when you're talking to people, you're not saying this is the solution. You are saying this is my solution. That's your uniqueness. Never, ever get stuck in that way of comparing yourself when you do that comparison with other things, other people, other businesses, product, service, whatever it is. If it's making you feel bad, stop it. Stop comparing yourself and just concentrate on your own thing. What you want to be constantly doing in market research is you want to be understanding who your customer is. What are they looking for? What's their problem? And we'll do a big bit about your customer and working out who your customer is and what their problem is. We'll be doing a lot on that, okay? But your market research should be saying, actually, there is a market because other people are doing this. And when I'm looking at it, I don't think they're doing it very well. And I think I've got a unique angle on this. And I think I can do things slightly different. And I think I can bring something new to the market. And I think people will like it. And I think they'll like my approach. Boom! You have a business there, folks. You do. Because if other people are doing it out there, then there's room for you. And if you can bring a different spin on it, a different take on it, your own personality to it, then that is unique. And that is a business. What you need now is confidence and the ability and the tools in order to take that idea, take that concept, take those ideas and put them out there to the market. And you can do that. So these are all the things. What we've been talking about today in today's episode are all the things about getting ready to start. What you should do before you actually, push the button. Take that step out there, jack the job in, tell the boss to stick it. These are some of the things you need to do. It's not a totally exhaustive list. This is the Best Business Shows list of 6 things. Let's go through them again. Number 1, be prepared to deal with all the crap. Number 2, remember to have that conversation about time and family and how you may need to be very selfish and how you would love it if they could be supportive during those periods. Number 3, money. You've got to consider money. How much money do you need and how long is it going to be when you're not earning any money? Number 4, psychometric tests, psychological profiling. Are you a nutter? Are you the right sort of nutter to do this job? It could be very important to find out what your strengths and weaknesses are. Well worth it. There's lots of online ones. You may have to pay a little bit of money for it. Worth it. I'll put a link in the show notes to one that I recommend. But that brings me on to number 5, recommendations. So books, courses, training, people, referrals, recommendations, people that where I have done it, I have enjoyed it. I'll tell you things that I didn't enjoy as well as the ones that I do. But typically, I will recommend things that I've done, have enjoyed it, and I think people would benefit from. So look for recommendations out there. Do some training and some, finding out about things, learning before you jump into this. Okay, this is what you're doing before you actually start your business. And finally, the market research. So look who's out there, what problems do they have, are their problems being solved by companies or people at the moment, and do you think you have a better solution, or more importantly, your solution that will help these people? They're looking for it, they're willing to pay you money for it. You just got to work out what your sales proposition is to them so that they give the money to you and not to somebody else. So there we are. 6 things to do when you are getting ready to start. All important, all good. Have that conversation, please, with your loved ones, your friends, your family. Have that conversation. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Because if you have that conversation and they are behind you, oh my goodness me. Woo! Best business on its way. Anyway, this is me, Nigel T. Best, saying thank you very much for listening to the Best Business Show podcast. I will see you again. Don't forget, give us a rating, subscribe, give us a review, take a screenshot of your review on Apple Podcasts and send it to me at Nigel T. Best on Instagram, and I'll give you a shout out. And if there's anything you want to know about how to run a business, something you're getting stuck on, again, drop me a message. I'll get back to you, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now.